Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? I can't hear you. God the Almighty woke you up this morning. I can't hear you. Welcome to Gray Road Church of Christ Senior Expo 2021. What? Let me tell you something about 2021. There was a time that 2020 was maybe the worst time of our life. So when I say 2021, I need to get a whoop, whoop. That's awesome. We are going to have a great time today. I hope that you all have enjoyed the continental breakfast. I hope that you have enjoyed each other's company, the wonderful energy that we have for one another, the love that we have for one another, being God's children. God's children. I'd like to bring up our senior minister, Brother Jeremy Flowers. He is an amazing minister, and he's going to give us a great prayer and a great introduction. Jeremy Flowers.
Thank you, Mia. Good morning, everyone. I am so glad to see each and every one of you. I only have one question. None of you look old enough to be here. So I think maybe you're at the wrong event. I don't know. I thought this was a senior expo, 62, 65 and up. And here we all are. All of you must be caregivers to someone else, and that's all right. But we're just so glad to have every one of you here for the Senior Expo. All of you mean so much to our communities and so much to the Gray Road Church. We hope that you have an outstanding time here today. I want to give credence to our major sponsor today, our partner in Humana, and Humana's here everywhere. You have lovely Humana bags, and they'll have a setup in the back. Also to our other sponsors and other individuals who have exhibits, the American Heart Association, the Council on Aging, the United Way, the Alzheimer's Association, Dedicated Senior Medical Center, People Working Cooperatively, and Spring Grove Funeral Home and Cemetery. We're glad that all of you have decided to spend your Saturday here at the Gray. I'm going to go ahead and pray and give it back to our MC. I do also want to make notice that this is the holiday weekend prior to Thanksgiving, and we have a few goodies for you. You should have had a great continental breakfast so far. We have a great box lunch coming your way, and for all those seniors here who are desiring one, we'll have a turkey for you to take home. We'll have a turkey for you to take home and make your Thanksgiving just a little bit brighter. So we're thankful that you're here today. Let's go to God in prayer. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for what was, what is, and what will be. Father, we're thankful for every single person under the sound of my voice. We're thankful for all of the sacrifices that this group has made, Father, the children they may have raised, the grandchildren they may be rearing, the influence that they have, Father. Father, we are thankful that you have extended their years so they continue being a blessing to us who are yet following them. Father, we ask for forgiveness of sins. We ask for success of this program. We ask for education to every registrant on today. All these things we ask in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. This time, Mia is doing an outstanding job. Give it up for Mia. We'll take back over the program.
Thank you. Give Brother Flowers a great hand, please. I like to say that I love this church. I love being here. There are so many people in this audience that have taught me so much. There is a sense of collective wisdom here. And being co-creators with that wisdom is an amazing tribute to God. And I like to thank all of you. If you have poured into my life, thank you so much. My name is Mia Hubbard, and I am a professor of communication at Sinclair Community College. And giving me this mic might be a mistake. I love what I do. I love teaching. And one of the reasons that people ask me to be an MC is because I'm not afraid of what my purpose is, right? So you cannot be afraid of what your purpose is in this life. You got to step into it with big feet and keep going, right? Um, we are going to have a great time today. I'm going to bring up our first speakers, and these speakers are amazing. They are amazing. They have been married for 52 years. That is nothing to sneeze at. Okay, 2021. All right. They have 4 children, and they are doctors John and Lachelle Edmerson. They are our illustrious elder and elder's wife here at Gray Road, and they're going to come to talk to us today about grief. And what we don't realize is that grief is a process, right? It is a process, and we don't realize that some people look at us and they say, "Why ain't you over that yet?" You can't, it's hard. It's really hard to miss somebody's physical presence in your life. So they're going to come talk to us and just a little bit more about them. They are chaplains in the Mercy system. And Dr. John, he is currently at the Anderson Hospital, and Dr. Lachelle is currently at the Jewish Hospital. And they have their degrees are from the United Theological Seminary, and they wanted me to tell you all that they love God and that they love what they do. And I'd like for you all to give a round of applause for Doctors Edmerson. Thank you.
Are you hearing me now? Thank you so much, Mia. I can tell that's, uh-oh, she's getting into my talk. I'm going to have to just cut that part out, I guess. Uh-oh. So good to be here with you, and so good to have an opportunity to talk to you about such a sensitive subject as grief. We're all in our lives. As a matter of fact, I'm going to share a moment, a recent study that was done with 1,000 Americans. I'm looking for a study that's bigger than that as well. I'm sure it's out there. But 1,000 Americans that talked about their coping with loss. And that was inclusive of what they're doing, their grieving process. And so in this, I'm hoping that this will touch your life in some way. Because if you're not grieving now, if you continue to live, most likely you will. And also, if you're not grieving now, you may be grieving, but someone may be grieving for you at some time. So I'm 72 years old. I don't worry about my age. I think I'm okay. I think I do pretty good. But it's just who I am. And so if I talk to you with great transparency, that's just who I am. And I'm going to try to make sure that I touch your life in some way. And it's not me. I want God, as always, to work through me. And when I'm at Jewish hospital working with Jewish patients and not just Jewish patients go to Jewish, a lot of African Americans there. It's a great diverse population of patients. But when I'm there, I am not there for me. I am there to make sure that people know who God is. And I trust me, not everybody knows God. Not everybody wants to know God. But nevertheless, I'm hoping that I can have an impact in their life. But this particular study, which is rather interesting, I think, they had a group of, like I was saying, 1,000 Americans. This is by WebMD, and that you see that on the internet. I've used them several times, and also America Speaks. And they're saying it like this. They found that 57% of Americans are grieving the loss of someone close to them over the past 3 years. How many of you have had someone close to you pass away in the last 3 years? Just look around. I know my brother has passed away. Thank you. My brother passed away. My mother passed away over 5 years ago. So I've had grief in my life. And it's hard to get over. It's hard. It's something that's difficult to get over. I don't know. Well, they say you never get over it, but you just learn to manage it in your lives. But this is what they said, the breakdown of the 57%. Let me just tell you what they're saying. And my preference was to stand down here and not in the pulpit, so just be patient with me. They said that out of the 57%, 32% had a death of a close friend. And as you would say, as it's said in my studies in getting prepared for this, grief is not just because the loss of a loved one. It can be for many things. And I'm going to tell you about a patient that I had, and I'll tell you what that's talking about. And then it says that 20% were grieving over the death of a pet. Anyone connect with that? Okay. And then 3%, which I thought was a small population, but maybe within that 1,000, they didn't have a lot of married people. They had the death of a spouse. And then lastly, they had the death of a child at 2%. So we're talking about half of you're thinking about the United States map. We're talking about half of the people maybe are grieving. And I think this is this world. We're grieving normalcy in our life. We don't have it anymore. And people are getting mean, and they just lash out for whatever they do. Have you ever been driving and everybody just looking at you when you're going a little slow, like, get out of my way? You know, they don't say that. Well, they could in their minds, and they're probably saying some other things too, but they haven't been mean in that sense. But when we grieve and we don't have an outlet, it does cause us to change in our personality. I know that, and I have to say this, I know that all of you most likely know about Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Now, I mention her because she was the pioneer of the dying process, inclusive of grief. Whenever a person, in my estimation, whenever a person is a pioneer, I don't care if everybody knows that her name still needs to resonate with us, because she was doing it when no one else was. And now she has a young man. Well, she's probably in her 80s, and he's not young, but he's younger than I am, so he's young. But his name is Dave Kessler. So the two of them have teamed up, and they talk about grief. She has a model that they talk about that was called the 5 stages of grief: denial and anger and bargaining and depression and acceptance. But now it has been modified, and there's now it's 7 stages of grief. The first one, which I'm glad that they added this one, I always wondered why it wasn't first, is shock. Because the first thing, especially in the hospital, when we find out that people have died, it's instantaneous shock. And then people are so in such that mode that sometimes they can't even think enough to do what they need to do. It's shock. And this is what it says: limit the initial paralysis of learning the bad news. Some of us have been shocked. I knew that my brother, he had multiple myeloma. And I knew he was sick, and he knew, as well as all the family, that he was going to pass away. He had done cell treatment, everything they could do, the doctors couldn't, but they really tried. But the morning that my sister-in-law called and told me that he's gone, I was shocked. Although I knew it, but I was shocked. And it took me a long time, in my estimation, to get over that. But I know my husband's counting my minutes because he told me I have 15 minutes. Okay, we're sharing the time. So we have shock and then denial, trying to avoid the inevitable. And then anger, just frustrated and just pouring out emotions. I know that in the ED, I have 3 floors that I cover: ED, ICU, and then the 6th floor, which is telemetry. And in the ED, there was a young man that was so frustrated and so angry about his mother passing away. He took his fist and he hit a machine, broke glass everywhere, cut his hand. That was his frustration. That's not a good thing to do. Bargaining, seeking in vain for a way out. There is no way out. Depression, the final realization of the inevitable. Testing, that's one of that was added. Seeking realistic solutions, and then acceptance. Finally, finding the way forward. Boy, that's hard. Especially when you use a spouse that you're married to 20, 30 years over or any longer, and you lose that spouse. I can imagine the travesty of that. In the ED, a couple of weeks ago, I was called down to a young man that was 46 years old, African American. I didn't know all this until I got there. And they just said, the chaplain, we need someone to come down, and that's my floor, so I go down. And when, as chaplains, as board certified chaplains, we are trained to walk into a room and read that room in seconds. And there was a heaviness. We hadn't even talked. He looked at me, I looked at him. Hi, good morning. I'm Chaplain Lachelle. How may I help you this morning? I understand that you needed to talk to the chaplain. He looked at me, I looked at him. But I knew in my heart that this man is grieving over something. I didn't know what it was until I sat down with him and we talked. Not only was he had been, well, he told me they had been together for 20, and no judgment, that God judged, no judgment. They had been together for 24 years, and his wife recently died. Grief. I looked at him and I'm thinking to myself, he's probably an athlete, and he was, as we talked. The physical nature is gone, and I'm going to tell you why. Grief. When I walked in, he didn't have a sheet over his feet. His left foot, there were no toes that had been amputated. And on the right foot, there were toes gone, but there were two appendages sticking up, and I'm assuming that were toes. Didn't really look like it, but I'm assuming that's what it was. And then on top of that, his feet looked, I was trying to find a different synonym for this, or I was trying to think, the only thing that comes to mind is his feet looked, and it's not that they were dirty, but they looked crusty, you know what I'm saying? It was like dry skin. The doctor came in while we were talking, and I did ask the doctor to give me a few minutes with the patient before he came in. Oh, okay, chaplain, no problem. Sometimes we have to open their eyes to that. But he said, he told the patient, you know, your feet are really thick on the bottom of your feet, and plus he's in pain. He said, what we can do before you go and before we can wrap you up and send you home or whatever you needed to do, we're going to scrape the bottom of your feet. And because it's so thick, you might want us to put your foot asleep or give him the shot. And I'm thinking that shot's going to be worse than that scraping. That's what I'm thinking, because that is a painful shot. But he was looking like, oh, okay. So he did decide to do it. But prior to that, before the doctor coming back, we talked about his life. And yes, indeed, he was an athlete. And so he's grieving for the loss of his wife. He's grieving because I no longer can do the things that I do. We start talking about clothes and him having shoes. He said, yes, I can wear shoes, but I don't have the real kind of shoes that I need. Now think about not having any toes on one foot and only 2 toes on the other foot, and not having the proper shoes. My heart went out to him, but I told him, what you're experiencing is grief. You have to be intentional in grieving. Grieving is a process, Mia. I really believe that. And it's one that people sometimes try to avoid. But I can guarantee you, if you don't grieve, it's going to come out another way. Kind, nice people that have great personalities, they don't grieve, they become mean, standoffish, whatever. But he was grieving, and I told him in this process, You must look. Yes, you miss your wife. You love your wife. Yes, you were physical. You were an athlete. Yes, you were. But in order for you to survive, you must learn how to grieve. And we talked at length, and I was so glad. And whenever I talk to a patient, I don't take the glory for anything. It's only God working through me. I take no glory for anything. I'm just glad to be alive, to be able to share with people. But I'm thinking that as I was thinking, because he was such a young man, I was thinking, and I told him, you know what? I'm going to leave you right now, but I'm going to be back, because the doctors needed to see him. And when I came back, his foot was all wrapped up. And he seemed a little bit more relieved, because I didn't just want to have a lecture, not a lecture, but telling him about grief without giving him a solution. And I told him there's a group, a hospice group in Cincinnati. And that group has a support group. And it costs nothing. All you do is call them, get the schedule, and you sign up. It's wonderful to be with people that have like experiences. It's wonderful to be able to share and just be vulnerable to everybody, knowing that there are other people that have vulnerabilities as well. So grief is unavoidable, but grief is a choice. You must choose to grieve. And sometimes that doesn't look too pretty. You might be crying when no one else is crying. You may be doing things that people just don't understand. But that's between you and God. Don't try to explain yourself to everybody. Don't give them something else to talk about. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. I'm sorry. But you know how we are. Told you I'm just transparent. But I hope in some way that that talk with him helped him recognize you were grieving. But yet here's an out, here's an opportunity for you to go and share with like people. And he told me how wonderful his wife was and how he had such great times. So we just had a wonderful time together, just talking about his life and talking about what it was that impacted his life. Okay, and so it was, and actually he was a diabetic. So that was something too. I've been given the 5-minute sign. I'm going to give you, this is a little word cloud, which I like. I'm a former educator, and I like to make learning fun. But anyway, so that's a little word cloud about grief. You're welcome to have this. I can make some copies of that. So the first thing we want to talk about, it's avoidable. It is a choice. And you look at your outline, and you can follow right along with me that you were just given. And if you don't have one, raise your hand so someone can give you one, okay? Raquel has some, I think. Raquel, you coming? No, you don't have them? Okay, so we can maybe get some. I think there's some outside. Thank you, Raquel. So loss is unavoidable, but grief is a choice. There's no life without change. There's no change without loss. And there's no loss without pain. But grief is a choice. And if you want to, I'll just use myself as an example. If I did not grieve and cry and talk to people and visit with people, and my sister-in-law is the best, my former sister-in-law is the best. I told her, you're always going to be my sister-in-law. I don't care. Even when you find another love, oh, girl, you know that. I said, what did I tell you? One day you will, most likely. But she was just great. To be able to talk about, my brother's name was Marcus, to be able to talk about Marcus and be able to celebrate his life, that was so wonderful for me. But I chose to grieve. I wanted to grieve. And in that grieving, you remember the loved one. I remember how Marcus was so funny, and he was a person that brought the family together. Everybody wanted to go to Marcus' house. Oh, he put on the music here, and we'd all be dancing. I'll say that slow. But we had a lot of fun together. So I was glad to be able to have the opportunity to, and we don't have our PowerPoint up yet. So I was glad to have the opportunity to grieve. And grieving is healthy. You might not think that, but it is. Because sometimes when people don't grieve, they suppress it, and then it becomes an illness, or it becomes a madness, or it becomes something that is very, very unhealthy. So when I say that it's healthy, it gives you an opportunity for your thoughts and your mind and your heart and your spirit to be renewed. It gives you an opportunity, but not only that, if you are grieving and you know someone else, the two of you can talk about and talk it through together. Quit being so standoffish, like you have everything, you got everything. Oh, I got this. No, you don't. No, you don't. You need some help. Now, there's some people that, you can't tell them anything. Okay, well, that's good. Okay, whatever. But for those people that listen to what you need to do as a grieving person, I hope it helps you. I want to speak to other people who have lost their brothers and their loved ones. I want to speak to people when we think about, and this is my last point, when we think about grieving, we think about loss of a spouse, but grieving could be a loss of a job, loss of your finances, loss of normalcy. Since COVID, nothing's been normal since COVID. And people are angry. Talk about it. Make solutions. Find people that understand. But I want you to be blessed. I want God to bless you abundantly. And if you are in the stage of grieving, reach out. Don't keep it in. Okay, Dr. Edmondson.
Good morning, everybody. Takes me a little while to get unfolded at 73, so I'm with the right crowd. God bless us. What'd you say, honey? Thank you. Thank you. All right. Isn't that good? All right. Great. Great. Thank you, Dr. Chaplain Lachelle. We've reached that age. You might want to cut my phone off and give me 20 minutes, please. We've reached that age where we have to be realistic. God didn't design us to live here forever. So we've started doing some very important things. Number one is we've done an advanced directive, a power of health attorney. And if you haven't done it, let us know. We'll help get you the paperwork you need to know. If I ever reach a point where two doctors says, we've done all we can do for John, the only thing that's keeping him here is that machine. I want my family, and I put it in my power of health attorney, to take me off life support and just make me comfortable and let me slip over into the other realm with a loving God who loves me unconditionally. I never would have earned salvation, but by his grace and mercy, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right. So we've done that. So seriously, we've seen some families just grieve and just go through so much. And we don't want to kill him. You're not killing them. If they're brain dead, they're gone. They're gone. They're gone. The other thing we've talked about a little bit is who's going to get her jewelry. I don't know why she keep buying jewelry, but I got a few points the other day. I bought her a nice piece of jewelry, and that helps, Brother Herschel. Yeah. So who's going to get my suits? Who's going to get my cars? And our cars and all those things need to be done. So we've done our will. So we don't want our kids fighting over anything, although I don't think they would, but you never know. When money gets involved, so whatever little estate we have, we want them to divide it equally. It's all there. So those are some things that I think is very, very important. And even I'm concerned about when I get, where I can't take care of all the essentials. She can put me in a nursing home, but come see me every day. Twice a day. Yeah, I want to make sure they taking care of me right. And that's what she went to see her mother often, so that was good. Let me pause for a minute because grief is not just about dying. Grief is about the loss of many things, and they can be very painful. I think my wife alluded to the loss of a job, the loss of a home, uh, the loss of a good investment that you put in. All those things can happen. And so fear of me not getting through all of this, I want to read to you a written prayer, and I'll be glad to give all of you a copy of it, which summarizes and encapsulates everything that I'd like to say. And I want you to listen closely to this written prayer. Would you pray this prayer in your heart? Normally, I say this at the end of a message, but this is so important, I don't want us to forget it. Dear God, you know all the things that scare me. Sometimes I'm afraid of my own emotions. Sometimes I'm afraid to show them. And I admit I have often equated sadness with weakness, not strength. I realize that I needed to learn some stuff today about grief, that it is a choice. It doesn't happen unless I let it happen in my life. And God, many times, I've pushed it down. I've suppressed it. And I've repressed it. And I've denied. And I've gone ahead thinking that I could go past it without going through it. You don't get over grief. I'd like for you to change your vernacular, your vocabulary, and say, I'm never going to get over it, but I can get through it. Will you say that? I can what? Get through it, so I can get through it. Lord, help me to realize that grief is healthy. Grudges is negative, and that's hurtful. Unconfessed guilt is painful and destructive. But grief is good when you know how to handle it and take the proper steps in dealing with it. Lord, help me to realize that grief is good and healthy. It's the only healthy response to loss. Thank you that you grieve with me. Thank you that you're close to the broken heart. Thank you for putting me at the Gray Road Church of Christ, where I can be in a healing community and family, where we carry each other's burdens and we can share each other's sorrows. I want to be in a church where we can build that kind of connection, that safety net when I'm in pain and when I can help others in their pain. Lord, many times I've rushed at always trying to find an answer, a quick fix, an instant solution, instead of realizing that grief takes time. And there's a season for everything in life. Forgive me for that. Forgive me for that. Help me to make a list of the things I've lost in life that maybe I was too busy or too afraid to grieve. I don't want to be stuck anymore. I want to identify what I've really lost. And I want to have the courage to lament, not just an intellectual exercise, but to feel the grief and to express it. Thank you, God, that you can handle all my questions and all my fears and anger and everything. You love it all and can handle it. Jesus, I ask you to heal my broken heart. I do that by first of all asking you to come into my heart. Change me in my life. Fill me with love where there's emptiness. Thank you that you're a father and tender, compassionate. You understand the weakness in my life. Thank you, Jesus, that you came to heal the broken heart. I want you to start doing that today, church. As much as I know, I want to trust you in all of this. Amen. Thank you. I'll be glad to give you a copy of that. That's so good. Many times I've seen a lot of people die in the last few years. And one of the things when I'm called, because in Churches of Christ, we learn how to quote a lot of scripture. I come in and many people who are believers love 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 1. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 1, which says, for we know if this earthly house were dissolved, we have another building of God, a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. So some version says this tent or this tabernacle, and a tent is a temporary abiding place. Our soul is just living in this house right now for a while. But one day it's going to depart, and we want it to go into a realm where we're confident. Another scripture I say, and families love that, even some people who are not very religious, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house, there are many mansions, and I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go, I'll come again and receive you unto myself. And Thomas said, Lord, we don't know which way you're going. And he said, I am the way. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. You see, when you have a loved one slipping over to the other side, that gives you a source of encouragement. That helps you to know that I'll see him again. Whatever that realm is going to be, I know I won't have this fleshly body, but God said we're going to have a body like Jesus' body. Is that right? So that is very encouraging. The other thing is we must learn that to grieve takes time. Ecclesiastes 4:1, I believe, 3:1 says there's a season for everything. We don't all grieve the same way and grieve the same time. If someone says to you, I thought you would be over that by now, they don't really understand. You don't ever get over grief, but you can get through it. That's why David said, and Psalms 23 is a classic chapter that we all read, where it says, yea, though I walk through. Did y'all hear me? Yeah, I walk through the shadow of death. I'll fear no evil. For who's with me? Y'all with me. And notice now, not over it, not under it, not around it. God is going to get you through it. And that's what you got to trust. That's encouraging. Now, let me ask you a question this morning. How many of you would like to be blessed? All hands go up. Do you remember Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 4, blessed are they that mourn. So God says it's all right to mourn. And he mourns with you. He grieves with you. We have a Savior. You know, it's not weakness for a man to get emotional and tears, because the Bible says, the shortest verse in the Bible, Jesus wept, didn't it? Jesus wept. So nothing is wrong with that. So it takes a season to grieve. Now, when Moses died, it took 30 days. It takes longer for some other people to grieve. In Rwanda, they grieve. They have an annual mourning day. All of this is important. Now, when you grieve, sometime there's a term that we don't use, but if you want to lament is we have a book called Lamentations. If you want to see somebody lamenting and grieving, then you need to read the book of Lamentations. And let me tell you something. People get angry with God and they get mad with God, but let me tell you something. God can handle it. I don't care how big it is or how small it is, God can handle it. Now, those of you who've lived to get to your 70s, there have been times that you've had to go in your closet where none of your children, your wife, or nobody, and you've had to turn your face to the wall. And you've said, God, I'm sorry. I repent. God, I'm trusting you with whatever state I'm in. And sometimes you need to do that. Let me read a little bit of this and watch my time. Take how many? Okay. Come to me, O God. Set me free from this agony. Oh God, oh God. Oh God, please help me. Every waking moment is filled with the pain of that moment. Every night is filled with the terror and with fear. Oh God, how did it happen? Where were you? Why didn't you stop it? Oh God, it's all wrong with the world. It's my voice, oh God, that sobs to you before the day breaks. Can you imagine? Some of us were around when 9/11 happened, and we saw that plane hit that building, and all those people died. A lot of people were hurting. Like a balloon that is released in the sky, my prayer makes its way to you. Oh God, before the sun even rises, and everywhere I turn doors over that are slammed shut. Oh God, do not slam the door of heaven in my face. Oh God, the world has been drained of color. The music has been turned off. The silent shroud covers any green that remains. All is gray and smells of death. I fear for the death of my spirit, O God. I wrestle to hold on to the deep places of my inner being. My soul is in danger. Save me, O God, save me. Consider my weeping, O Holy One. Be tenderhearted when you speak to me. Handle my bruised heart with gentleness. For without you, I'm nothing. Oh God, when you speak, the sky is alive with music. Your hand reaches out and colors the world with a touch. My soul is a rainbow. My sobbing bursts into a song. My God is here. I love poetry. I love reading great prose. There are times when we feel like that we need to be able to confess things to God. There are so many things, and in the panel, we're probably going to talk about what not to say. And we have a little video now that if it's queued up, we want you to look at this, because if you've been like me, yesterday I had a friend in Tennessee. His sister was 65, just got her master's degree. They just started a new janitorial service, and all of the brothers, siblings, they were running the business. And she discovered she had cancer. So she went to get chemotherapy. She was only able to get one treatment. And then her kidneys started shutting down. And yesterday morning I talked to him. He said, pray for my sister, Deborah, because it's rough. And Deborah had given them a DNR. You know what a DNR is, don't you? Do not resuscitate. I want a full code. Do what you can until it's time for me to go. but DNR, so they didn't try to do anything. And she passed away yesterday, and that hurt him so dearly. But people, sometime I said, my friend, I'm lost for words. I'm so sorry. I could help you. But sometimes people say things that they shouldn't say. Are we ready? All right, let's roll it. Okay, let's see if
I've been in ministry for a long time, and I've talked to a lot of grieving families through the years, and I really thought I knew what to say to people in grief. That is, until
Say this so it goes into your subconscious. Now, let me read this statement. Every person who experiences death or loss must complete a 4-step grieving process. It was 10 of us. We've already lost 5 of my siblings. We've lost my mother, November the 16th. She would have been 93, and she passed away at 62. Just started getting her Social Security check. So I know what this is. I know. Mama was always had some money for me when I needed it. So, I, loved her dearly, helped me with my homework and so forth. So, but I must be honest, and I'm almost ashamed of this. One time I lost a job. It was a church job. And that caused so much pain because I guess my identity was in that church or with that church. I felt like quitting and giving up. I felt like, I think I was around 50. It's over. It's over. But let me tell you something. I'm glad my wife stood with me and said, just keep pushing through. You'll be all right. And I thank God I'm all right. Will y'all give me a hand? That hurts so bad. Now, say these 4 things to know when you've gotten over grief. Accept the loss. Work through and feel the physical and emotional pain of grief. Adjust to living in a world without the person or item lost. Move on with life. The grieving process is only when a person completes the 4 steps. Amen. Give all yourselves a hand. Thank you. And I think we're going to have a panel, so if any of you have any questions, we'll stick around for that. So we turn the program over into Madam Chair.
When I think about grief, it's very difficult, but we got to unpack it. You got to unpack it, and you can't just move on with life, right? And I think that they gave us some great tools to get through that. And remember that there is always somebody that you can talk to help you get through that. And today we have a designated licensed professional counselor today. And she can meet with you every 15 minutes today. All you got to do is sign up. Joyce, if you can raise your hand and stand up. Joyce Johnson, she's our licensed professional counselor, and she's our designated counselor for this today, and she will be happy to talk with you. She would be happy to talk with you. Thank you, Joyce. If you want, you can sign up at the table today. Okay. I want to move forward. Even though we talked about grief and we unpacked that, right? I want to move forward into something that really is happy. Prizes. Are you guys ready to win some prizes today? Oh, no, I can't hear you. Are you ready to win some prizes today? All right, let's have some fun. We're waiting. I'm waiting on the tickets to come on up. That's a winner? Who got the winner? Okay. Y'all getting turkeys and free prizes. Y'all got to fill that bag up today. I am waiting on the tickets. All right, are you all having a great time? It is a wonderful, wonderful time. One of the things that I learned from Dr. Emerson, the doctors Emerson, is a lot of times we celebrate the body and not the spirit. We celebrate the physical presence and not the spirit that resides in the body. And that is one of the things that we have to celebrate, is the spirit that resides in the body that God gives us. And when that spirit, when that person dies, their physical presence dies, but their physical spirit goes home to be with the Lord. And that's what we have to celebrate. So I thank you for that. All right, we went ready to win some prizes. Okay. That's okay.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Mia. I forgot earlier, and I forgot it on mistake, to mention the coordinators who make this possible. There are individuals who work indefatigably to make this work. And LaVenta Atwater, Eileen Glasgow, Dr. Donna Ebrin, and all the office staff here and all the volunteers. All the volunteers today you'll see with these lovely gray robe shirts on. Be sure to tell them thank you. They have worked tirelessly in putting this together. We thank them for their vision, and we thank them for what we're experiencing today as it unfolds.
Thank you. All right, we got, where is the tickets? All right. Okay, I am going to call off, let's shake it up. Let's shake it up. I am going to call off the last 3 numbers, right? The last 3. 0, 1, 3. Woo, woo! You the first contestant on the Gray Road Price is Right. Come on down. Come on down. I love it. I love it. Congratulations. Thank you. Oh, no, you can go sit. Thank you. Oh, here's your gift. Come get your gift first. Congratulations. Let's give him a hand. Woo! That's awesome. Okay. Next one. Shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up. All right. Let's see. 0, 5, 7. Okay. Woo! Awesome. Congratulations. We could bring it to you. Go ahead, bring it to him. We can bring it to you. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Is there another one? Is there another gift? Oh, 3 more gifts? Okay, wait a minute. We're giving out a bunch of stuff. Hold up. Wait a minute. Is my ticket in here? Okay, hold on. Let's see. This is 0, 23. Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. 2 more. 2 more. Shake it up. 1, 0, 6. Woo! Okay. Okay, Maddie. Congratulations. All right, let's see. Let's get the ones that's not stuck together. All right. Okay. What's after 106? 107? 107. Okay. Come on down. Congratulations. Go ahead, take it to him, Maddie. Congratulations. We'll have some more of those throughout the day today. So don't think you're not going to go home with a great prize. Not to mention, I'm up here. That's a great prize in and of itself. Okay. Thank you, Matt. Say thank you.
Thank you.
Say your name.
Thank you, Madison.
Oh, wait.
Hi, my name's Lachelle Lane, and thank you guys for coming.
All right, give them a hand. Woo! Thank you, ladies. You can have a seat. Thank you. All right, so next on our agenda. So we know that there is a mind and body connection, right? There is a mind and body connection. If you do not exercise your body, your mind will go to sleep, period. Come on, where my nurses at? You have got to exercise your body to have great overall health. And I'm going to introduce our next person coming up. This is Dr. Ibram. She is licensed international from the International Sports Science Association. She is a certified fitness trainer. And she's also a senior fitness coach. She's also a nurse. She has her PhD in nursing research. And one thing that she likes is you have to move your body a little bit every day to improve your overall health. I'm telling you what, in 2020, all I want to do was sit down, child. I wanted to sit down, watch Netflix, and eat everything that I never ate before. But what I realized that my mind shut down when I didn't move. So you got to move your body. She's going to help you all do chair exercises today. So we want to get your blood pumping. We want you to get moving. So Dr. Ibram, if you could come up with us, and I'm hoping that we could maybe get a mic stand so that she could talk, because she can't hold the mic. And no, okay, you can hold the mic. Okay, thank you. Give her a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. Pardon me? Know that, right? I am so excited to be here today, and I'm just so excited for all the energy that's in the room this morning. My goodness. I think Mia already talked about so many of the benefits of exercise as we're aging. I am a senior fitness coach, and not only am I just a senior fitness coach, I'm a senior also. So I am... Everybody's telling their age. The Emersons told their ages. So I am 68 years old. Woohoo! And so I'm so glad to be here in this event today and helping plan the event. It's so exciting. So as Mia said, it's so important for us to keep moving every day, moving a little bit every day. It does help the mind, but also the body. It increases our circulation. And we not only have the circulation of our blood, but we have a lymphatic system, circulation of our lymph. And, that really helps a lot with immunity. And everybody's heard the word immunity a lot these last 2 years, haven't we? So these are just some of the added benefits of exercise. But what I like to emphasize with senior adults is by moving every day, it helps to keep us functional with everything that we have to do every day. We don't think about what it takes for us just to get up from a chair, just to walk around. By exercising our muscles a little bit every day, we're much better equipped to do the things that we have to do to reach in a cabinet, again, to get up from a chair, to walk around. Just think of the things that you do every day that all require muscular strength and coordination. So today, because I only have 15 minutes, this is going to be very brief, and I just want to give you a sampling or just an introduction of some exercises that you can do at home in a chair. I know we have a lot of a range probably of what people do. There are people here I know that go to regular exercise classes, and then there are probably many of us who really don't do much movement. So oftentimes we are sitting down. We may be sitting at our computers every day. We may be sitting down reading a book, watching the TV, studying our Bibles. Yes, studying our Bibles. Yes, so we are sitting down. So what are some of the things that we can do just sitting in our chair that can get our body moving? And actually, we can work every muscle in our body, and we can also do cardio exercise in the chair. But we're not going to do any of that today. This is going to be very gentle And it's just to, to get you moving a little bit because you're sitting in between sessions. So some of the exercises that we're going to do, we can use some weights with our upper body, just like 1 pound weights. These are really light. I have 5 pair. Does anybody want to raise your hand if you'd like to use a set of weights? So we have 5 pair. 1 pair is for me. Thank you. Thank you. So, do we have any more? We have some more? Okay. So, I do want to let you know that participation is not mandatory. You don't have to do this at all if you don't want to, okay? And that is no problem, no judgment. If something doesn't feel right to you, don't do it, okay? Just don't do it. And and I also wanted to add, if you want to start an exercise program at home, even a chair exercise, make sure that you talk to your healthcare provider and make sure that it's safe for you to do. So I think that's all I wanted to cover ahead of time. So I'm going to sit in my chair, and I hope you can see, but some of the things I may stand up to demonstrate as we exercise, just so that you can see what I'm doing. So one of the most important things, the one thing I didn't talk about was posture. So, and how exercise can help improve your posture. And as we get older, oftentimes we just start to crouch over like this and we don't even know we're doing it, or we're sitting in the car like this. So I want you to be mindful of your posture as we start today. So I want everyone to sit in their chair, and I want you to be mindful of your posture. So I want your spine to be elongated and straight. You'll hear me? I want you to put your feet flat on the floor, your heads up facing forward, and your shoulders back. So we start off with good posture. If you're doing a chair exercise at home, it's really important that you have a stable chair. Don't get a wobbly chair, don't get a lawn chair, but have a stable chair. Make sure that the height is appropriate for you, and then make sure that it's on a non-slip surface, because you don't want it, again, to move around. So be sure and put it on a rug or put it on a mat so it's not going to move around. So let's get started. One of the things, aside from posture, that I wanted to emphasize was breathing. Okay, we have breath in us. And you would not believe how often we go around and we actually hold our breath, or either we breathe very shallowly, and so we are not really exercising our lungs like we should be doing. So the first thing we're going to do is just to take some deep breaths. So we're going to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. And just because I want to know that you're breathing, when we breathe out, I want to hear it. I want to hear you go, ah. Okay, so let's breathe in through our nose and out. Ah. Oh, that sounds perfect. Let's do it one more time. In and then ah. Let's empty those lungs. As we empty those lungs, we're going to pull our bellies in also. Okay? Let's do that one more time. In and out. Ah, good. And hold that belly in. Excellent. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is just very simple. It's just going to be our neck. And I like to call this look at your neighbor. Remember church when they always say look at your neighbor and say this? Well, we're going to look at our neighbor. So say everybody together. You can do this when we're going to turn to the right. Look at your neighbor if you have a neighbor. Turn to the left. Look at your neighbor. Let's do it again. Turn to the right. Look at your neighbor. Turn to the left. Look at your neighbor. We all have masks on. I would tell you to smile. We can't see it because that exercises our face muscles also. Now we're going to look at the ceiling. And then we're going to bring our neck to our chin to our chest. Look down. Let's look up. Chin to chest, look down. One more, look up. Chin to chest and down. Okay, and one more neck exercise. We're going to just lean our head, our ear to our shoulder. It's not going to touch. And then we're going to just roll to the front to our other ear, by our shoulder. Roll to the front. Ear is at our shoulder. One more. Roll to the front. Okay, again, this is just a smidgen because we don't have much time. Never should you do like the neck roll or all the way around, okay, because that, can lead to some damage for you. So now that we've worked on our neck, we are going to, if you have some hand weights, okay, you can take your hand weights, and we're going to do, some of you are probably familiar with the shoulder shrug. We're going to do our shoulders. So you can just put your hands at your sides. Again, watch your posture, keep your posture straight, and we're just going to shrug our shoulders. Like, I don't know. That's what we're doing. Okay, and then down again, shrug your shoulders. Okay, let's do it again. Shoulder shrug. Shoulder shrug. Okay. Now this may seem very simple to you, but if you go to the gym, you see like those big lunk, guys like with big weights, and they're doing shoulder shrugs. We're just doing it with very light weights to work our shoulders. Okay. Then we're going to do shoulder rolls, and you can do this if you have your 1 pound weights. So let's begin like with both shoulders and just roll our shoulders back. Can everybody see me? Roll our shoulders back. Roll our shoulders back. Roll our shoulders back. Good. Remember to keep breathing. Okay, now let's go the other way. Let's reverse that and go the other way. Roll our shoulders forward. Good. Everybody is doing really well. Roll our shoulders forward. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, excellent. Okay, the next thing we're going to do we're going to do some shoulder raises for the fronts of our shoulders. You might need to scoot a little bit farther for this. You can do it with your hand weights or you can do it without. We're just going to raise our hands in front of us, pause, and then we're going to slowly lower them back down. Let's raise our shoulders, our arms, and slowly roll them back, bring them back down. Let's do a few more of these. Up in front and then back down. And we want to do these exercises slower. Sometimes we think fast is better, but it's not. Actually, if you do your exercise as slow as you can, you have more resistance. It's going to work you much harder. So also remember to breathe. Now with our last shoulder exercise, I call it opening the little door, okay? So just glue, pretend like you have super glue, like right here. We're going to glue your arms here next to your body, and we're going to pretend like you have a little door right here that you're going to open. It's going to work that rotator cuff muscle. So we're going to just open the door. So let's start with one side. Let's open the door. And then bring it back to the center. Open the little door. Bring it back to the center. Let's do it again. Open our little door. Open our little door. Now let's do the other side. Let's open the door. Open the little door. Good. Let's do one more. You may think these exercises are very simple. However, these exercises can really help you get moving in the morning. So we've worked a little bit of our shoulders. Now we're going to do our chest and our back. So we're going to, these are called rows, but I like to call them row the boat because it kind of helps you know exactly what you're doing. So you're going to, again, put your hands directly in front of you. And as we're going to row the boat, as you pull your arms back, you're going to crunch those muscles behind you. So this is working your upper back. So we're going to row the boat. So squeeze those muscles in your back. Squeeze. Roll the boat. Squeeze. Squeeze the muscles. Good. Squeeze. Squeeze. Okay, let's do one more. Squeeze. Okay, and now for our chest, we're going to punch. And I was thinking, like, what would be fun with punching? And I said, like, how about we just punch COVID out? You know, I kind of like that. So, yeah, everybody would like that. So, we're going to punch COVID. Just think that's COVID in front of you. We're going to punch COVID, right and then left. Punch and COVID. This is working our chest. Punch. Punch COVID. COVID has made all of our lives miserable for the last couple of years. Punch it. Punch. 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 Okay, one more. Okay, let's do one more set. Excellent. Okay, now before we go into our arms, let's shake out our arms. Everybody shake, shake, shake. And now let's breathe again. Okay, everybody in. Ah. One more time in. Ah, wonderful. Okay, let's do some work with our arms now. You probably have heard of bicep curls. So whether you have a weight or whether you don't have weights, we're going to work our biceps, this front part of our muscle. So what I want you to do, I don't want you to start from down here. I want you to hold your hands back up and pretend that your arms are sitting on a shelf, okay? So you can't lower them down because they're sitting on the shelf. And now we're going to, one arm at a time, we're going to bring our arm to our shoulder, keep them up on that shelf, arm to the shoulder. Keep the arms on the shelf. Don't let them drop. Keep the arms on the shelf. There you go. Good. You all look so good. I can't tell you how good you all look. Excellent. Okay, let's just do one more. Okay, on each side. Excellent. Okay, we can put our hands down and shake them out. Can you feel that a little bit? Okay, good. All right. So anytime you work the front of your arm, your triceps, you need to work the back of your arm also. That, for the women, we always worry about that jiggly, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to work our triceps. I'm going to stand so you can see what I'm going to do. Again, we're going to glue our arms down to our side, and we're going to move our arm back and then back up again. Let's do one arm at a time. So move it behind you. Excellent. And this works that tricep muscle. Works the tricep. Good. Let's do one more on this side. I've probably gone past my time, I don't know. Okay, and now let's do the other side. Glue the arm and then reach that hand back. Reach it back. Reach it back. Reach it back. Excellent. Very good. Very good. I want to tell you, if you don't have hand weights at home, that you can use just your water, the little water bottles, you can use those. And then if that's too heavy for you, drink half a bottle of the water and then, then try it again, okay? So, They used to tell you you could use like cans of food, but I don't recommend that because you could drop that on yourself. So like no cans, but use water bottles, all right? Okay, next thing we're going to do, this is easy. How many of you like your hands get stiff, especially when the weather gets cold? You feel your hands getting stiff? So we're going to work our wrists and our hands right now. So let's put our hands back out to the front, and we're just going to turn our wrists like over. So like we're going to do supine and then prone. That's what we call it, supine, like a soup spoon up, and prone. Working those wrists. Does that feel good? This always feels good to me when I do this. This feels good, yeah. Okay, and one more set. Again, just a few so you know how to do these. Now we're going to circle our wrists. Let's circle them together. Let's make little circles like about the size of a salad plate. Okay, see if you can make circles about the size of a salad plate. Good. I see our young people doing this too. I'm so happy. Okay, now let's reverse. We're reversing. Excellent. Doesn't that feel good? Yeah, it feels good, doesn't it? Yeah. Just some of the little things you can do to feel better. Okay, now let's shake out our arms again. Shake out. Okay, now we're going to do our fingers. So how often do we think about exercising our fingers? So we're going to do a little finger exercise. We're going to hold our hands up, and what we're going to do, we're going to touch each finger. So keep one in a fist, and then hold out our other hand, and we're going to count our fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, both our hands. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's do that again. Open our hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I got it right that time. And now let's just do some jazz hands, and just like jazz hands. Move those fingers around. Yeah, feels so good. I see Sister Clark here. She's like, I love that. Okay, excellent. Okay, we can put our hands down. Now the next thing we're going to do, we just have 2 more body parts to work, and then I'm going to be done with you. We're going to work our legs. You can set your weights aside, and I want to tell everybody that took a set of dumbbells, those are yours to take home, okay? Extra door prize today. Okay, so now what we're going to do with our legs, there are lots of things you can do with your legs, and it can actually get your heart rate up too with what you want to do. So again, we want to sit up straight, our spine elongated, feet flat on the floor, and we're simply going to march now, okay? And we're not going to march with our hands. I didn't want, our heart rates really going up here because I don't know who all is here, but we're going to just lift our leg. And we're going to march. March. That feels good on those hips, okay? The hips as well as those muscles in the front, the quadricep muscles. Up, down. We're marching up and down, up and down, up and down. Doesn't that feel good? Okay. Okay, we've done enough marching now, so you know how to do this. The other thing we're going to do, and some of you may have trouble doing this because of the way we're seated, but this is called the leg extension. A leg extension, again, is very good for the front of the legs. So you just lift your leg up and then lower it. Lift it and lower it. You should be able to feel that. Lift it and lower it. These exercises are so important in helping us as we walk and do the things that we go about doing every day with our legs that we take for granted. But by doing a little bit of this every day, this will help to strengthen us. so that we can walk. So these are leg extensions. Again, good for the quadriceps. We're not going to do the opposing muscle today because you have to stand up. But if you want to do this at home, you can hold to the back of the chair, and then you can lift your leg up this way. And then that will work that opposing muscle. Last thing we're going to do are feet and ankles. So again, with your feet flat on the floor, we're going to do toe raises. So you're going to lift up on your toes while you're seated. Lift up on your toes. It's really good. They're called calf raises, good for your calves. You know, when you think about, moving, getting the circulation moving throughout your body, preventing clots and that kind of thing, very important. So up on your toes and back down. Up on your toes. Let's hold it when we get up on our toes. Let's hold it. Up on our toes. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Lower it back down. Up on our toes. Lower it back down. And then we're going to do the same thing, but just like opposite. We're going to lift up onto our heels. Lift our heels and then down. Heels, lift, and then down. Heel, lift, and then down. Heel lift, and then down. Excellent. And now the last thing we're going to do ankle circles because we need to move our ankles too. That's a joint there we need to move around. So we can lift our leg and just again, let's make a circle with our right ankle. Around, again, just like about the size of a saucer, if you can do that. Excellent. Okay, now let's reverse it. Go the other direction. Excellent. Okay, let's put that down and do our other leg. Okay, make the circle around, around, around. Circle with your ankles. Okay, now let's do the reverse it. Excellent. Very good. We can place our foot back down. We have worked really a lot of the body in this short time, but let's do one important thing. Let's breathe again. Let's breathe in and then out. Let's do one more time. In and breathe. And one last time. In and out. While you're tightening that belly. Okay, there's lots of more that we could do that would be so much fun, but unfortunately, I can't do it all today. We kind of missed a little bit of our core, our belly, which is really important, but next time, we'll do that too. You all can find me at home because I'm retired. Or you can find me at the Gray Road Church of Christ on Sunday. Or you can find me in my Pilates class that I go to every day. But feel free to reach out. I don't have cards anymore since I retired from the university, but I need to get some made up. And, I didn't do really a lot with my personal training because COVID hit. I'm working on 2 additional certifications now. I am a fitness trainer and a senior fitness coach. Right now, I'm working on a lifespan fitness and muscle therapy, fitness therapy course that I should be finished with, and that will qualify me as a master trainer. And I'm certified by the International Sports Science Association. So it was kind of my retirement gig after being a professor for all of those years, but I still love teaching. Thank you so much for your attention. May God bless you abundantly.
I don't think. Another round of applause. I mean, she just gave you like a full workout, and I think that's what, about $75 an hour? That's amazing. I feel amazing after that. So now when you leave here today, you can tell people that you learned how to open and close a door. You can tell people that you learn how to row.
Starting off with
caregiver support group. Like that is awesome. And as one person that is currently taking care of my mom who is going through stage 2 cancer, and trying to get her to eat is a feat. And it's just like, mom, if you don't eat, you're gonna go to the hospital, and that's not where you want to go. But it works on you because you think that you are like doing everything that you're supposed to do as a daughter or as somebody that's being a caregiver for that person, and they are not doing everything that they're supposed to do, but they're dealing with a disease. So it's like you gotta take a step back and say, Mom, I love you, but I really need you to be. But you need support for that. You need support for that. I learned so much, so much. And I'm glad that that was great for you all. I want to go over what's going on in the gym. We have tables set up for you all. We have great information tables for you. Humana is there. Dedicated Seniors is there. Council on Aging. We just did a great presentation online. Also, Alzheimer's Association. Spring Grove is here as well. And let me tell you, when it comes to pre-planning, that stuff is important. When my mother-in-law passed away, and I miss her so much, but when my mother-in-law passed away, I did not realize how much you have to do. You have to do so much. So Spring Grove is here to help you with that. And then people working cooperatively, they are here as well. They help with energy saving, safety, weatherization, great stuff. United Way is here. Gray Road Tech Support, give it up. Gray Road Tech Support is here for any of you that need help getting online, need help with your iPads, all of that, okay? And then the Diabetes Association and American Heart Association, they have campus here as well. Let's see. And y'all ready for some more prizes? Y'all want no prizes. Y'all ready for some prizes? All right, let's draw some numbers. Mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. Thank our ladies, Miss Lachelle and Madison. All right. 0, 2, 1. Woo! Go ahead, take it to her, honey. All right, let's give her a hand. All right. I think everybody's going to leave with a prize today. Oh, my bad. 0 to 9. All right, we get close. All right, back there. Go ahead and take her gift. All right, and I'm gonna draw from this one. This one, okay. All right. 0, 5, 2. Okay, wait a minute. That's awesome. I still need to put a ticket in here. Let's see. 0, 0, 3. Okay, right there in the white shirt. Okay, congratulations. Congratulations. Are we doing more? Some more? Okay. All right, let's see. 0, 0, 7. Right back there, right back in the back, right back in the back. How many more? 2 more? Okay, 2 more, 2 more, 2 more. All right. Oh, dang. 0, 0, 2. 2? All right. Okay. Sis said mix them up. I'm mix them up, sis. Okay. All right. Let me mix them up, mix them up, mix them up, mix them up. Okay. You have more in here. I'm gonna get more from here. Okay. All right. And mind you, I did mix them up. 1, 0, 4. 104. Woo! Oh, wait a minute. That jacket is cute. Can you leave the jacket while I give you the gift? That jacket is cute. All right. That's amazing. Everybody give everybody a round of applause. Is that it for the door prizes or no? Okay. I think we may have more prizes on the way. But now I want you to bring up our next. Thank you, ladies. Now I want to bring up our next facilitator. This is dedicated seniors in dealing with diabetes. Okay. And this is super important, super important. And this is the office of Dr. Singh. Give Dr. Singh a round of applause. She's going to come up and tell you a little bit about herself as well.
Thank you, everyone, for inviting me here. And I know we are running behind, so I am going to make it a little shorter so we can finish up on time. I'm sure you guys are hungry. I had a banana before coming in out there. So I'm Dr. Anisha Singh, and I am with Dedicated Senior Medical Center. It is located right here in Roselawn, 7642 Reading Road, not too far from here. We have 3 locations, one here in Roselawn, and then one in Glen Crossing Way, and one in Coleraine Avenue. So any of the centers, whichever closer to you, you can always come and visit us. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about diabetes awareness. And if after the talk you have questions, you can ask me. We do have Damien here. He's a center director. And then Vanessa, she is our market growth consultant. That means if you have any more questions on how to contact me, how to reach us, take a tour of the place, you would contact Vanessa for that. So a little bit, yes. And so a little bit about me. So I'm an internal medicine physician. I've been in practice for 20 years now. I just turned 50 on November 10th. I've also done my fellowship in women's health. I am also a holistic nutrition counselor, so certified holistic nutrition counselor. And then I went on to do my master's in spiritual psychology, which means that psychology devoid of spirituality does not work, and spirituality devoid of taking care of our healing our issues also doesn't work. Bypassing it doesn't work. I'm also a yoga teacher. And I was really, the chair exercises speaks highly to me. And then I am also an Ayurvedic counselor. Ayurvedic means it's a medicine from India, actually 5,000-year-old medicine, Eastern medicine, holistic nutrition, basically. And the yoga is when I learned about Ayurveda. I actually didn't learn about it in India. And so then I went on to do Ayurvedic medicine, and it has all come in handy. So in terms of how we practice at Dedicated, the reason I even joined this practice, I have been in practice for 20 years, but then when Dedicated Senior Medical Center opened up last year in October, they reached out to me, and it spoke to me because it is about more preventive medicine. It is about holistic medicine. And it has come in, all that I have ever learned came in handy now when I myself got diagnosed with breast cancer. And I just finished my chemotherapy, and now I'm going through my radiation right now. So I'm the Center Medical Director at Roselawn location. We have other doctors who are also specifically have worked for seniors all their life. So let's talk a little bit about diabetes. Diabetes is a huge problem in the country. We know that. About 88 million right now in America. That's 2015 data. We don't have the latest numbers. 88 million people in this country are pre-diabetic. So if you're not diabetic, question yourself, are you pre-diabetic? 88 million. We have about 1.5 million people, seniors, getting added to the diagnosis of diabetes yearly. And then if you look at the next slide, um, about 26% of really the people 65 years and older are having diabetes. And this number is a little bit older. Right now, I looked up and it's 14 million people. I would say a lot of my patients are pre-diabetic or diabetic. And sometimes if they're not diabetic and you're pre-diabetic, and if your doctor hasn't talked about it seriously to you, you keep thinking in your head, I don't have diabetes. I don't have diabetes. And then you don't take the steps that you need to take. But pre-diabetes is when we need to intervene, and that's where I want to give more and more talk about, in the community, to let you know the changes you can do to prevent and then to manage diabetes. Let's go ahead. So there are two different types of diabetes. There is the type 1, and we see type 1 diabetes more people who have had since childhood. So when you see people with childhood diabetes, that's mostly type 1, which means their body cannot produce insulin. Now, most of our seniors, most of us who develop diabetes as an adult are type 2 diabetic, which means that your body is producing insulin, but it is resistant to using that insulin. So this is where we can make the most change. So type 1 diabetics, they need insulin injections because their body just doesn't produce insulin. But the type 2 diabetics is where we can take a lot of responsibility about our health. And even if you have a family member, like, oh, diabetes runs in my family, people will say. And so it is taken for granted. Like, my mom had it, I'm going to get it. That is actually not true, because insulin resistance develops based more on lifestyle and what we call epigenetics. It's it's not genetics, it's more epigenetics, which plays a role in type 2 diabetes. But both type of diabetes raise your blood sugar. So let's go to the next slide. So why is it important? Why is this sugar important? Because people may think, oh, but it makes me feel okay. I do a finger stick on you right now, and if you are pre-diabetic, if it's around 150, or we do on our patients and it's like they're sitting at 200, 250, and they're feeling okay. So you're not feeling anything. Does that mean no damage is happening? A lot of damage is happening. High sugars on its own, as it's flowing in your blood, right? Your body, this blood is flowing with high sugar. This sugar is reaching your heart. It's causing heart disease, cardiomyopathy, your doctor might tell you, or your ejection, the way the heart pumps gets slower. It can lead to heart attacks. So high sugar is not benign condition. It can also damage your kidneys. So one of the things we find, diabetics who don't take care of themselves, they will eventually go on dialysis, because the blood that's flowing into your kidneys is going to damage your kidneys. Eye damage, we call it retinopathy. That's why every diabetic is asked to go to see the eye doctor once a year, because the high sugars damage your eyes. Even people will tell, when their sugars go low or it goes too high, their vision gets affected. The sugar affects your eyes. It also not just affects eyes, but your nerves. So then you start feeling some tingling, and patients are complaining of the tingling, and sometimes I find the patients come to me and they want me to give them medications for tingling. And my first instinct, why is this tingling happening? Well, if you lower your sugar, your tingling will go down. It's as if the sugar is, really hitting your nerves, and it's not, it's causing you tingling. So we need to lower the cause. Medicines don't treat diabetes, right? We're going to manage the symptoms. But for people will go on gabapentin. Some of you may have heard these names, or they'll go on Lyrica. And then if they're not being controlled, then they want Percocets, and then they want Vicodin or Tramadol. But that's not the answer, right? The answer is control your sugar, right? If you control your sugar, then that sugar is not pricking on your. Now if I eat the muffin out there, if my body if I'm not a diabetic, that means if the moment I'll eat the muffin, Insulin, my pancreas in my stomach, in this belly area, there's pancreas, it'll secrete insulin. And my body is sensitive to insulin right now. So it'll right away use up that sugar, convert it, as energy. I will not get the side effects from that muffin. Over time, I'm going to gain weight and everything else. But if you are already a pre-diabetic or diabetic, the moment you will eat the muffin, your body will still produce the insulin, but it will not be able to but your body is resistant to that insulin. It will not be able to use the sugar from there and convert it into energy. So then you will have high sugar from eating that muffin, whereas your next door neighbor who doesn't have a diabetes yet will just metabolize it. So that's why everything is about increasing your insulin sensitivity, right? How do we make our body more sensitive to insulin? And then brain dementia is clearly linked to diabetes. So when we talk about, people will say, oh, my memory is failing. How about let's go back to your sugars? Are we controlling that better? Because down the road, 10 years down the road, all that high sugar would have damaged your white matter in your brain and giving you memory loss. So let's go to the next slide. So what are the steps we can do right now to control your diabetes? Number one, check your blood sugars every day. So this is one of the things I tell my patients, especially if you're already on insulin. You need to check your fasting blood sugar. Fasting means what? It doesn't mean, sometimes my patients will say, well, I wake up like at 12 o'clock. What is fasting for them? Before you eat the first meal, before you have your first coffee. You can have water, but before your first meal, before your first coffee, check your sugars. Document it. Your doctor cannot help you unless you're checking your sugars. So check your sugars daily. If you're only on oral medications, then we do not necessarily recommend you to check your sugars every day. If you're pre-diabetic, we don't recommend you to check your sugars every day. We do tests on your blood. But if you're already on insulin, fasting sugar is really important to check. And then let's go to the next one. And I really struggle with that too, because I have patients so poorly controlled. Because at Dedicated Senior Medical Center, we give our cell phone number to our patients. It's making ourselves as doctors very available and accessible to our patients. So I have few patients that I tell them every day, text me your blood sugar number. And then they will, even then they won't text me. It's like, okay, girl, I've given you my number. Text me. And then they will start texting 2 days before the appointment date, right? It's like, oh, I just remember Dr. Singh said to text me. So that is one of the positive things we try to do at Dedicated, is that much available and accessible that you can even text your doctor. And then be sure to take your medicine every day. One of the things, if it's an allergy medication, for example, it's only as needed, right? But there are certain medications that have to be taken daily. Your blood pressure medication has to be taken daily. You can't be running out of it and saying, oh, but my blood pressure is well controlled. 1 week I don't take it, so big deal. It will go up. Not the next day, but 2 days later, you'll be 200 over 100. Same thing with diabetes medication. It has to be taken daily. If you're running low, call your doctor. Now, there are some medications, like cholesterol medication, for example. Even though we do say take it daily, if you actually miss it, it's not like your numbers of cholesterol are going to go up. It is a daily medication, but it does not in any way harms you if you miss here and there. But blood pressure medications and diabetes medication are not to be missed. Insulin shots cannot be missed. You better take it, otherwise you're going to end up in the hospital. What does the other thing high sugars do? The high sugars can throw you right in the hospital. We call it the diabetic ketoacidosis. Your body produces ketones from that high sugar. You get all mentally, cognitively not there. You end up in the hospital. Each hospital stay for a senior leads to increased mortality. Every time you go in the hospital, you are going to come back with lesser health than what you went in with. You never come back to baseline. It's guaranteed. So one of the things we do at Dedicated Senior Medical Center is make sure we prevent your hospitalization. And if we want to prevent the high sugars and we want to prevent the low sugars, we want you to eat consistently. Because if you're going to take insulin and then miss your meal, Well, guess what? We had a patient just this week, the week that went. He missed his meal, went in the hospital with a sugar of 29. So, as much as high sugar is an issue with seniors, low sugar becomes an issue because with seniors, their appetite keeps changing. So, your appetite goes down, your diabetes medications have to be adjusted. That is another area where I find having, somebody, your doctor, at more frequent intervals, more available, accessible, makes a difference. Because sometimes I have my patients who go to their endocrinologist twice a year. Well, I don't know how that can really help them if their health is changing. So if suppose, like at Dedicated, we like to see our patients more frequently. We can see them every week, or we can see them every month or every couple months. But we like to see our diabetics closely because if your appetite changes, I need to lower your medications. One of the big problem with seniors is not too many pills. It's not too less, it's actually too many pills. They started on the same pills at like 55, and that now they're 75 and they're continuing the same 10 pills. And now they're eating, their appetite has gone down. We need to lower maybe the blood pressure meds. Maybe they're having dizziness because actually their blood pressure is running too low, or the sugars are going down too low. So that's very important. Let's go to the next slide. Yes, now this is where activity, movement that we were earlier doing today. It is extremely critical for diabetes. Now let's look at it why. It's not about weight loss. So most of us start thinking of exercise only in terms of weight loss. But when you exercise, when you move your body 30 minutes, it makes your body more sensitive to that insulin for 24 hours. So it is very important if we just do some movement. You can do it in your chair. I mean, that chair, it was working the shoulder. So when we start moving doing exercises 30 minutes, then it is better sugar control than without exercise for 24 hours. That is why exercise 30 minutes a day is recommended for diabetics. It's the same with blood pressure too. That if you do 30 minutes of exercise, your blood pressure will go down irrespective of weight loss. So you may not lose a pound, but your numbers will look better. So any type of exercise, if you want to use a little bit weight, you can do that. If not, I have some other slides. Let's go to the next one. Tai Chi. We are actually going to start Tai Chi at our center. We have an activity room where we do different things. We actually have right now diabetes education classes for our patients. Once a week, we have an educator. And it's all free for the patient, by the way. So we have a pre-diabetics and diabetics in the class. They can either come to the center. Because of COVID, everything is remote. The diabetes educator is remote. And our patients come to the center and listen to it like this. And they can ask questions. It's interactive. Or we send a link to their home if they have capability. And then they can do those classes that way. But really, Tai Chi is another thing that we are going to start at our center, where every center across Dedicated Senior Medical Center, right now we have, this company was started 30 years ago in Florida. And right now we have 100 clinics across the country right now. And in every clinic, there'll be a Tai Chi instructor. Tai Chi is a great exercise, slow form. It has shown great benefits in terms of overall health and well-being. It is very easy to do with seniors. So that's why every center has Tai Chi. And then, or you can, the next slide, you can, you have grandkids, go out on a walk with them, involve them, get involved with them. Walking is a great exercise, right? We know that. Walking is one of the, I have some of my oldest, I have worked in geriatric populations since I graduated from my fellowship. And everybody who's really, 85 and older, who's in excellent health, I always ask them, so give me a word of wisdom, give me something. And one common thing has been walking. They all, every senior, because there was a time when, cars and stuff probably wasn't as accessible. It was just as part of life. So I have learned, so when I turned 45, that became my routine. I'm like, okay, if my seniors and patients are doing it and those who are looking good, they're all walking is a consistent thing. If it's winter outside, like, they were talking, you can walk in the corridors, you can walk in your apartment corridors. But walking is one of the best exercises, gives you the benefit in diabetes, making your body more sensitive to insulin. That's what you're trying to do. Let's go to the next slide. Now, keeping a food diary, this is recommended specifically for diabetes, because a lot of time diabetic patients will tell me, I'm eating right, I'm eating healthy. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Well, it really helps us as doctors if you start writing down. Even if you write down for 1 week, it gives us an insight of where to make a change, what to do. And I, of course, as a holistic nutrition counselor, I work very closely with my patients in their diet changes, because people will say, oh, should I just avoid carbs? Not really. You can't just avoid carbs. Everything is carbs, right? So is there something called not so good carbs? Or is it fast carbs or slow carbs? So learning about that. So we can't figure that out unless you start having a food diary. Let's go to the next page. And then about the diet, now this is a very general term, right? Eating a balanced diet. But what is a balanced diet? Well, there are things that I find besides, these are obvious, right? Every diabetic knows, avoid the desserts, candy, sodas, not that they do it, but everybody knows. But one of the things I find that people don't know is about fruit juices. They love their fruit juices. Do you have fruit juice? Of course, I have this orange juice every day with breakfast. Well, guess what? That's all sugar drink. Fruits are awesome for you. Oranges are awesome for you. Any fruit, nature, anything made by nature is awesome for you. Fruit juices, no, not even if it says 100% fruit juice. It is all sugar. It is all sugar. So fruit juices, that's the first thing I tell all my even pre-diabetics, get off your fruit juice. Everything. Then what do I drink? Well, how about water with maybe some lemon and coriander, whatever you want to put, cucumber in it. But really, fruit juices are notorious. It is marketed so well, right? Across the world, the marketing is just perfect for fruit juices. But eat your fruits. There is no much marketing for fruits because there's no money for the companies in there. So they don't market the fruits, but eat your fruits. Any fruit is good. Is there a bad fruit for diabetic? Nope. There's no bad fruit for diabetic. You can have your banana, you can have whatever you want to have, but you can't, and now if you're going to have, that's why I say the food diary. If you're going to have a meal of white rice and, or pasta and then I say don't have a fruit right with that, because there is a lot of, too much carb in one load. But having your fruits as snacks, awesome. It's a great, awesome. Having nuts and, another thing underutilized, I find my seniors, in nuts and raisins and, raisins and craisins are nature's candy. So use them more. But anything, even oats, I tell people to eat oatmeal and then they will buy the sugar-coated oatmeal, right? Like what kind? Like how can I have plain oatmeal? Well, how about getting your oatmeal plain, but then putting, if you're using, depending on if you're using, say, almond milk or whatever milk you're using, how about putting instead of some raisins in there, or I love my dates in there, and then putting seeds in there. Seeds are great about balancing. What do I mean by seeds? Pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. These are underutilized, right? Because you don't see it on TV. It's not marketed. What is marketed is a fruit juice, right? So diabetes control is not as this. So like it's all about a lifestyle. Let's go to the next one. Of course, who doesn't know about these things? Avoiding alcohol, but of course, overall, I think I do find with most of my seniors, they're pretty well controlled, right? They have done their share in their young age, and they have done it all. And now I don't have to speak much to the seniors. I find that a lot of them are well controlled in there. And even the next slide, Okay, control your diabetes, check your feet and skin every day. And the reason we say that is high sugars damage your nerves, and the nerves decrease the sensitivity in your hands and feet. And when the sensitivity is less, if you step on something, you don't feel it as much, and you may have a cut. And high sugars lead to quick infections, right? So when there is a cut, it will lead to quick infection. You may be in the hospital in 2 days. So for every diabetic or pre-diabetic, take a look, at nighttime. It's anyway good to moisturize your feet at night. So while you're moisturizing, just go ahead and take a look at your hand and feet if you're diabetic. Next one. This one, if you smoke, quit. Well, how easy it is to say, but it is something that I think we can never recommend. There's nothing good about smoking. I don't know why it's still legal, but it is. But yeah, quitting smoking is, of course, recommended. Let's go to the next one. Of course, don't skip your doctor's appointment. No magic and nothing big I want to say about that. Keep your appointments. Let's go to the next one. Manage your stress. Now, this is the other one, the breathing exercises that you were doing. Now, why is stress? How is stress related to diabetes? When you are under stress, it increases certain hormones in your body. Cortisol. You know that you have heard the word cortisol. Cortisol increases sugar. So if you are going to be stressed, it's going to lead to sugar, high sugar. Can you imagine? Now, cortisol also increases your adrenaline, right? That rush that you get, that increases your blood pressure and heart rate, right? So that's why everybody needs to do certain things. We as humans, I always say, animal, look at all the animals. They know how to de-stress, right? They eat their lunch and then they lounge. Even a lion lounges and your cat and dog lounges. They know how to rest. We are the only species, the very high intellect, but we have used our intellect to become so techno-savvy and everything but we have forgotten the basics. Breathing, everybody is like controlled breath. It's like half a shallow breaths. But de-stressing is critical for your good health. Stress leads to diabetes. Who knew, right? So if you're going to be under chronic stress over time, well, guess what? If you are starting stress because either job-related stress, family-related stress, just stress because now you're used to that cortisol and adrenaline. There are people, right, who live with stress. If you're going to de-stress them, they don't know what to do with that because they don't have the rush anymore. Just like kids these days need that rush with that games. They play the games and that's giving them a constant adrenaline. Make them stop for one day and they're like, whoa, what do I do now, right? Same thing. So when you're under stress, it is going to give you that constant rush. Eventually, the cortisol, the release of cortisol, which is coming from your adrenals. Adrenals is in your abdomen area too. Eventually, you will have adrenal fatigue, and now you are tired. Now you are chronic depression, chronic anxiety. So controlling your stress is not an outside thing, right? It is an inside job. It is not because of COVID. It's not before COVID, it was because of financial reason. Before that, we had another reason. Before that, there was those who are stressed. Look back. There was always a reason. Maybe because you were not, now when you were 20, maybe you were not thin enough, or that boyfriend, or that, whatever. There were so many reasons. Your school, your college. We never can get out of stress if we find a reason outside us. So I can get stressed today. My God, I'm going through cancer. Or I can choose to be de-stressed. Situations happen outside us. Stress is about building your resilience inside. So I always say stress is what? Stress equation is challenges versus resilience. So the denominator is resilience. And so if your resilience is high, your stress is going to be low. And how do you build your resilience? Breathing, whether you do breath exercises, you do a nature walk, meditation is a big word, but I don't like to use the word meditation because it's been thrown away too, just used randomly. How about breathing? Deep breaths in and out. So controlling your diabetes, control your stress first. Let's go to the next. Join a support group. So with diabetes, just like how we do at our center, we have the diabetes education classes, which is a beautiful support group. Everybody comes, sits together, talks about it. But anywhere else, whether in your church, have a support group for diabetes. Talk about it. Get somebody to come, teach it. Everywhere we need support groups because it is 88 million are just pre-diabetic. They also need to join the support group. We at our center, just a few words about that, and we can help. Our patients are a lot of diabetics. We have a lot of experience in diabetes. We can go to the next slide. And so our center, we have primary care doctors, but then we have endocrinologists that are actually working for our company. So they are on our cell phone. We can call them right away. So if there's a certain questions we may have, we don't even have to send the patient out. A lot of our patients, so diabetes is something any primary care doctor should manage. But a lot of times doctors don't have time. In a busy practice, like a fee-for-service model, like a traditional model, a doctor has 2,000 to 3,000 patients. They have no time to manage. So, they see you and 5 minutes later, they want you to go to specialists. But here we see no more than 400, 450 patients. So we have a lot more time. So we sit down with the patient, we can do the food diary, we can talk about diet and lifestyle. And then with that, we can help. And then if it need be, we can even talk to our endocrinologists. We have few endocrinologists that work for our company, and then we just call them if there is a need to call them. We do have a lot of in our program, because the thing with dedicated senior, our goal is really to keep our seniors happy, healthy, and at home. That's our goal. Whatever it takes to keep them happy, healthy, and at home. So to do that, we will not only make ourselves accessible, make the program in such a way that if you more happy days outside hospital, less hospitalization. So overall, you can read that. Let's go to the next slide. We do, like I said, we have much smaller panels. So if you would like to learn more, what I would recommend is if you already have a doctor, great. If you love your doctor, great. Still, I would recommend you to come take a tour of the facility. Know the resources in your community. You may not need it, but it may be for some next door neighbor who needs it. So Vanessa is here. Vanessa can take your number. She will arrange for the tour and you can come. It's a beautiful facility. Our mission is to honor seniors with affordable VIP care that delivers better health. So our mission, we are a very mission-driven company, and our doctors are pretty much how we look at ourselves. We are healers. We are there for our patients, mind, body, and spirit. So we don't even hire doctors who are cookie cutter. So if you're not interested in that part, we're not interested in getting you on our center. If you're a pill-giving doctor, well, then you don't work well with our model. Our specialists that we work with are also like that. They're all about diet and lifestyle changes. Where's the next slide? I think, overall, I've talked about this, that we have less hospitalization. And so at Dedicated, we not only have these doctors who are more available, but we also have dispensary on site. So a lot of our seniors, the reason they run out of medication is because they don't have somebody go to pick up the medication from the pharmacy. We don't carry all the meds. We have 200 common meds for most common diseases that seniors have. And when they come for the visit, they take their pills with them. We also have x-rays right at our site. So we had a patient, she had a fall. She actually was at the People Working Cooperatively fall prevention class and fell from the chair. And so she right away called us and we got an x-ray of her elbow and her neck and, everything was good. But it was so much better to come to our center, get a quick x-ray than go to the ER and spend hours there. So we have an x-ray right at the centers and you can do a walk-in visit anytime. So it's we are open from 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, so you can walk in. We also provide transportation. So if you are driving, great. But someday you're not feeling well, Well, just now ask us. So, we will send Uber Health. We don't do this big bus or anything. We do one-on-one. So, Uber comes to your door, picks you up, and takes you back. So it comes in handy. I have a 83-year-old. No, she's 78-year-old, and she's always drives. But this last week, she had belly pain, and she needed to come that day. So we sent an Uber. She could come. I could start. She had diverticulitis. I could start the antibiotics. She's doing great. So it's very transportation is a huge door-to-doctor transportation. We also have been doing transportation for COVID vaccines and stuff in case patients need transportation for that. We do not do transportation to your specialist. If you have an outside, then you would work with your insurance company. But for most of our needs, you will get transportation. So, and the next slide. This is understood. So yes, so we see patients 65 years and older who are Medicare eligible, or if they are 55 years and older who are Medicare eligible. I have actually a 30-some-year-old patient too who's on disability, and she's seeing me too. But that's like one patient. Most of our patients are 65 years and older. We do have a few 55 and older too. So if you have, anybody has a question before I know you guys are hungry. Yes. What number? So the question is, what number would make you diabetic? So if you are, what we do in our centers, or what doctors like to do, is hemoglobin A1C, the A1C. You hear the word A1C all the time, your doctor. They always, in your physical, ask your doctor, what is my A1C? If it is 6.5 or above, you are told, and in 3 months. So we will repeat one, and we find it's 6.5, and then we repeat again in 3 months. And if it's still 6.5 and over and higher, you are a diabetic. If you are between 5.7 and 6.4, then you're pre-diabetic. Anything 5.6 and under is good. So that's how you find out. Any other questions? No? Okay. Well, oh yeah. Yeah. So the number should be below. If you're already a diabetic and you're on medications, we like to. So we don't want to, at that point, we want to work more with the diet and exercise. We don't want every patient to go below. So it depends on the age. So if I have an 80-year-old, I'm going to be okay with that 7.1 number, only because if I go too low, she's probably going to end, or he or she will end up in the hospital with hypoglycemia. So we like to keep, you will find the doctors will, but if you are a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old, we will say, well, let's try to control it better. So we can push it further down under 6.5. But if you're, so it's all, it range, we kind of go up higher because we have found, and that's the patient who went into the hospital this week with 29. He's the other doctor's patient, and his hemoglobin A1C has been 6.2. But he's in his 70s. So maybe what we need to do is actually back off on medication, keep him a little higher number, because he probably missed one meal and ended up in the hospital. So it all is age related too. And then if I have an 90-year-old, I'm going to keep them below 9, because their eating pattern is really up and down. So it does. But a younger, if you have a doctor and you're 45-year-old, well, we want you definitely below 6.5. Yeah. I think, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Singh. Amazing. And I wish you well on your cancer journey. So today we have learned so much, right? So much. We learned about how to cope with grief with doctors John and Lachelle Emerson. We've learned chair exercises and strengthening with Donna Ibram. And we also learned all the resources for Council on Aging. And then we just had a great presentation from Dr. Singh about diabetes. Do any of you have any questions for any of our panelists today? Yes. Is it okay to skip meals and use Glucerna?
Yeah, you can use that if it works for you, and depends on if you're insulin dependent. No, not insulin, then you can use it. Yes. Yeah, see, what I would recommend is if you are, I like food. Glucerna is also, at the end of the day, all of us should eat real food. Glucerna, we can use it as a meal replacement from time to time. If we have a certain work situation, say you're working a night shift or you're working such hours that you need to have something and you know you can't have all the meals, you can do a replacement. But what we don't, now it's an older patient who does have chewing issues, then we can use it. But otherwise, food, because the food that you're eating, whether it's fruits, vegetables, grains, all of it, it gives you more things. There's the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants, which you're not going to get from Glucerna. One of the things I didn't talk about is how does meat affect diabetes? Unfortunately, today, these meat farm factory animals are injected with insulin growth factor so that the meat could become large, animal becomes larger sooner so they can kill the animal. Well, that insulin growth factor, when we eat, it makes us diabetic. So if you are a large meat eater person, well, even going 2 days meat free makes your diabetes better. Unfortunately, that's, if we had, like our grandparents ate, or even our parents ate, where they didn't inject insulin growth hormone, then it would be different. But otherwise, you if you can find it in a farm, or you can find it organic, where we don't get injected. But the way we are eating, the McDonald's burger or the Fendi's and all that, that's unfortunately, even though you in your head are thinking, I'm only eating protein, right? But guess what? You're also eating the insulin growth factor. You're also getting diabetes from that. That's the sad truth. Right, plant-based breakfast. So like, the veggie burger or something like that. Much better than taking, the pork or the beef, right? Only because of that reason, because it does have insulin growth factor. And also, we know that there are different other problems also. There is higher colon cancer and other things too with some of the meats, smoked meats. So going to a veggie burger, if you were to ask me, meat burger versus a veggie burger, the packaged veggie burgers, that's better. If you ask me veggie burger versus making the burger with lettuce and everything at home, I'll say that's even better. So the more we go towards real food that is real food is whatever nature makes is real. And even our ancestors always ate meat. That's fine, but they didn't have diabetes because of how the animals were treated. So
Appreciate it. Thanks again, Dr. Singh. And Dr. Singh, will it be available for any of you who have questions for her? In all of our panels in the back, all of our tables that are set up in the back, they will be able to answer your questions as well. We do have a survey for you all so that we can make our next expo the best expo for you. So make sure you fill out that survey so that we can get some great ideas on our next expo. Whatever you didn't like, whatever you did like, and any other creative ideas that you have for us, we would love to take those into consideration. So please make sure you fill that out for us. So as of right now, we are coming to a close. But what I want you to do, I want you to go in the back and I want you to go through all the tables, go through the panels, and we have lunch for you to take with you once you leave. And we also have great turkeys. Okay. We have turkeys, we have lunch for you, and we got great information for you in the back. So I'm going to have Brother Flowers come up to dismiss us and set us on our way. Brother Flowers. Give him a hand.
I can't wait for the day we can stop doing all this, right? Thank you guys again, as Mia said, for coming. We're going to go to God in prayer, and then the gymnasium will be yours. Let's go to God. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time. We thank you for these presenters. We thank you for everyone who's come today to learn more about how to navigate in this season of life that we all find a blessing, because growing older is a blessing, Father. Father, we need you. We love you. We also ask thanks for the food that we will soon partake in, Father. All these things we ask in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. When you're in the gym with the vendors, and there's lunch there as well, at the back door, there'll be individuals giving out turkeys to those who would like them. Thank you so much for being with us today.
We need a word from God today. Something to help us, something to light our way. And He has spoken. He is speaking through the Bible, only the Bible. Won't you listen? He's always teaching. I know His word is all right. Whoa, yeah. Do you love the word? The word. Ever heard in your life? Gotta let you know.